Today, we're going to talk about one of the easiest to recommend IEM around $300, and of course, it is the Xenns T Pro. Let's jump into it. Hey friends, Timmy here, welcome back to another video on TimTune, and today we have a review of the Xenns T Pro, and I will be comparing this to the Top Pro near the end of the video as well. For those of you who are curious about my thoughts on the Top Pro and can't wait for the full review, there'll be a little bit on that topic in that section of the video. But for now, let's get back to the topic of why I think the Xenns T Pro is the easiest to recommend IEM around this price point, and also one of my personal favorite IEM around this price point as well. And mostly it has to do with how natural and versatile this thing is tuned. The Xenns T Pro has a tuning that's very pleasant and normal sounding, with tasteful coloration that gives it just enough amount of fun for it never to be boring. It has a bass boost plus a slight boost in the upper mid-range, so the bass elements are going to be a little bit more forward, more strong in the mix, but not overly so. It doesn't muddy up the mid-range in any way. It's quite tastefully kept in its own area, while at the same time not really sounding lean or anemic in any way. It has a nice heft and slam and also definition to it, while at the same time, again, not bleeding in and ruining the lower mid-range. The T Pro also has a slight elevation in the upper mid-range, and this helps it not to be too relaxed sounding or too normal sounding. At the same time, it helps balance out the amount of bass that it has, so vocals don't ever feel like they're being drowned out in any way by the lower frequency elements. Even on songs that are especially bassy, the vocals on a T Pro still comes across rather clean, but clean in a sense where it's not anemic or lean like you would get with a Harman style of tuning. The instruments and vocal presence in the T Pro still comes across as having natural weight and heft to them, a natural warmth that is very satisfying to listen to. On the topic of treble and timbre, the T Pro does a very good job. I especially like the fact that it doesn't matter how deep you can fit the T Pro in your ears, the treble remains smooth either way. You can see from the graph here, whether you have a shallow fit or a deep fit, the treble remains largely unchanged, but even if changed, it remains rather smooth. This ultimately results in a timbre performance that sounds largely normal, like a decay of instruments and vocals sound real and normal, lifelike, if you will. And it's something that I came to appreciate a lot more at my current stage of the audio journey, if you will. Now let's get into details, and let's bring up my scale right here. I would say the Xenns T Pro lands just behind the Blessing 3. Now the T Pro itself, with the way the treble is handled, it's not going to be an IEM that is perceived as detailed. A lot of micro nuances are not really jumping out at you, but more so they sound very normal. And one can argue that that's actually better. For me, like I said, again, I've come to appreciate that more, just a natural sounding detail, not overly boosted. But for those of you who still appreciate details in the more common definition of it, you might feel like the Xenns T Pro lack a little bit in this department. Now let's get into comparison, and the first one is the one you guys been waiting for, the Xenns Top Pro. Between the Top Pro and the T Pro, I would say the Top Pro from bass all the way up to mid-range does a better job than the T Pro. The bass is slightly bit cleaner, which results in a tighter, more dynamic response, and at the same time, a much more transparent sounding vocal experience. Now, where I split off from other reviewers is gonna be in the treble department. I feel like in the Top Pro, or at least my unit of the Top Pro, the treble is overcooked. It introduced a timbre that sounds a bit scratchy and more akin to what you're used to with BA timbre, so that part I didn't quite like. While yes, it does introduce more perceived details, and for those of you who appreciate that, the Top Pro might be the better option for you. It does have more highlights in the micro nuances and overall just sounds more detailed than the T Pro. At the same time, quite a bit more unnatural in comparison to the T Pro, especially when it comes to timbre. So overall, between the two, I think both are very good for the price. Personally, I picked the T Pro for everyday use because again, I think the T Pro just sounds a lot more natural and easy to listen to for very long listening sessions. A little bit of side note, I guess, or a message to Xenns Mangert: if you can make an IEM with the top Pro's bass to upper mid-range, but the T Pro's treble, you have my money. That would be one of the most ideal IEMs for me. Now with my next comparison, I initially planned to compare the T Pro with the Soft Ears Volume S, but seeing that I'm working on the Volume S's review, at the moment, I decided I'll reserve that comparison for that video instead after I already talked about the Volume S. For now, I guess I'll end this video by saying that yes, Xenns T Pro is one of the easiest to recommend IEM around this price point, not only because of its very versatile tuning, but also because of how natural yet fun it is as well. And on top of that, it has a treble performance that would not offend anyone, while at the same time not really skimping out on details either. And another bonus, metal shell.